So for context, me and my family have been living in America for 10 years, which in my mom's words is longer than they expected to be here. For the past 4 months, my mom has been telling me how dad is tired and I don't think he will last here for another summer. Anytime I talk to her, this has been the topic. You know dad is tired and he would like to move back. I can see it in his eyes, were her exact words. And because I only have 1 year left of school, she keeps telling me to find colleges in Greece because we will be moving. I tried to not give her an answer and just smile and leave anytime she says that. I thought about it, and I don't want to move. I don't want to leave this place. She doesn't understand why I don't want to move, because she sees Greece as her home, which I understand. She grew up there, but I lived here for 10 years and have no memories or good memories of Greece anyways. Yesterday we had a talk about it. She brought it up as soon as I came from school. You know, I found a good college for you in Greece. It's very close to home, and gave me directions of how to get there, like I knew the streets. I didn't say anything and tried to eat my food. You know dad is tired and I don't think he can do this any longer. And continued, look, we can stay until you finish school and then you can go to college in Greece. And continued, you need to think reasonably, plus it's going to be an American college. You don't even need to know Greek. I got tired and finally told her, I don't want to go back. I would like to stay here instead. She got angry and started screaming, you understand that dad can't keep working like this. He is getting tired. I told her okay, and that I still want to stay here. She told me I can't support myself because I don't have a job, and I told her I am going to get a job this summer. She paused for a moment and started telling me how it's not like I'm going to lose anything. I don't even have friends and don't go outside, so why would I want to stay here? I screamed back at her and told her, I'm not telling you to stay here. I'm not yelling at dad for being tired. I just don't want to move. She didn't stop but got angrier and told me, and where are you going to live? You know we will sell this house, right? You know how hard it is to get an apartment? You don't even know how to cook your own food. So at that point, I just went back to eating and stopped talking. She still went on about the college, and I said to her while laughing after that whole hour, Mom, can I just get some silence? You have been talking for an hour. Please, I'm trying to eat. Then finally, she just went on talking about the show on the TV. Not gonna lie, that conversation exhausted me. So back, I immediately fell asleep at like 5 p.m. until it was morning. But moving back to that place is not an option. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I just hope she stops talking about it. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, no idiots here. Greek universities are excellent, and education in Europe gives you as many, if not more options, than if you are at one of the less reputable American colleges or universities. The cost of living is lower in Greece, and the general level of welfare is higher and cheaper than in the US. It will most likely be easier for you to be independent in Greece than in the US. At the same time, USA is clearly what you consider to be home, and once you are 18 years old, you can make your own decisions. Your mother is caught between you and your father, and she will not be able to please you both. This probably is very difficult for her too. Comment 2. I'm not going to pass judgment. But according to you, after an exhausting conversation, you went and slept for a minimum of 12 hours, and you think you're going to be able to support yourself through college with a summer job? You also apparently have nothing in place or plan for where you're going to live or how. I mean, I'm sorry, but this just sounds like a total disaster waiting to happen. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my last post and for all your support. It's been a busy couple of weeks since I last updated you all. So after that exhausting conversation with my mom about moving back to Greece, things were pretty tense at home. I tried to avoid the topic as much as possible, but it seemed like every time I turned around, my mom was there with another college brochure or some story about how great life would be back in Greece. I knew I needed to do something to show her I was serious about staying here, so I started looking for a job. I applied to a bunch of places, but with no experience, it was tough. Finally, I got a call back from a local grocery store. The interview went well, and they offered me a part-time position stocking shelves. It wasn't much, but it was a start. When I told my mom about the job, she seemed surprised but didn't say much. I thought maybe she was starting to come around to the idea of me staying here. Boy, was I wrong. A few days later, I overheard my parents talking in the kitchen. My dad was saying how he didn't think he could handle another year of work, and my mom was telling him not to worry, that they'd be back in Greece soon enough. She said she had already started looking at houses and that she was sure I would come around once I realized how hard it was to make it on my own. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I thought my mom was finally starting to understand my point of view, but it turned out she was just humoring me. I felt betrayed and angry, but I didn't know what to do. That's when I made a mistake that changed everything. I decided to confront my mom about what I had heard. I waited until my dad was at work, and then I told her I knew about her plans to move back to Greece. I told her I wasn't going, no matter what she said or did. She was furious. She started yelling at me, telling me I was being selfish and ungrateful. She said I had no idea how hard my dad worked to provide for us, and that I was throwing it all away for some stupid dream of staying in America. I tried to explain that it wasn't a dream, that this was my home now, but she wouldn't listen. She told me that if I wanted to stay here so badly, I could do it on my own. She said she and my dad were moving back to Greece at the end of the school year, and if I wanted to stay, I would have to find my own place to live and my own way to support myself. I was stunned. I never thought my mom would actually give me an ultimatum like that. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't imagine living on my own, but I also couldn't imagine leaving everything I knew behind and starting over in a country I barely remembered. The next few days were a blur. I went to school and work like normal, but my mind was constantly racing, trying to figure out what to do. I talked to some of my friends about it, but they didn't really understand. They all had families who supported them and wanted them to succeed. They couldn't imagine having to choose between their family and their future. As the days went by, I started to realize that maybe my mom was right. Maybe I was being selfish by wanting to stay here. My dad had worked so hard to give us a better life, and now he was tired and ready to go back home. Who was I to stand in the way of that? But then I remembered something my grandpa used to tell me when I was little. He would say, "Nico, you have to follow your heart, even if it leads you down a difficult path, because at the end of that path, you'll find happiness." I knew then what I had to do. I had to follow my heart, even if it meant going against my parents' wishes. I had to stay here and make a life for myself, no matter how hard it might be. So that's where things stand now. My parents are still planning to move back to Greece at the end of the school year, and I'm still planning to stay here. I don't know exactly how I'm going to make it work, but I know I have to try. I'm still working at the grocery store, and I'm saving up as much money as I can. I've started looking for apartments and trying to figure out how I'm going to pay for college. It's not going to be easy, but I know it's what I have to do. I'm not going to lie, there's a part of me that's scared. Scared of being on my own, scared of failing, scared of losing my family. But there's also a part of me that's excited to see what the future holds, excited to make my own way in the world. So that's where I'm at. I know I have a tough road ahead of me, but I also know I'm not alone. I have my friends, and I have all of you who have been so supportive. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I'm ready to face it head on. Thanks for reading, and I'll keep you all updated on how things go. Aita for changing the keypad code. On my sister after she kept waking my baby, I, 25-year-old female, live in a 3-bedroom apartment with my fiancé, 27-year-old male. We have a 6-month-old son. My younger sister Mia, fake name, 20-year-old female, recently started attending a university that's closer to where I live than both my parents' places. Because she needs to get to class early in the morning, my fiancé and I allowed her to move into our spare bedroom. She's been living with us since January. There's a set of rules I've been having Mia follow since she moved in, mostly to make sure everyone can live peacefully. One of the most important rules concerns arriving after my son's bedtime, usually between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Mia is allowed to come home however late she wants, as long as she doesn't make too much noise. The door to the apartment has an electronic keypad lock, and the one we use also has a normal lock under it. Everyone has a copy of the key, but we all prefer typing in the password. However, the keypad is very noisy, and my son's nursery isn't far from the door. Every time the keypad is used after I've put the baby to sleep, he wakes up. So naturally, the rule about getting home late includes not using the keypad. Everyone, including Mia, has known about this since day one. At first, we had no problems, but now that Mia has gotten used to college life, She's been going out at night frequently. This past month, she has arrived home after midnight every Friday and Saturday night. She always forgets the "don't make too much noise" rule, and she has, on multiple occasions, used the keypad. My son wakes up crying every damn time. I'd sit her down and remind her of the rule whenever this happened, but she'd continue to do it. My fiance and I got tired of putting our baby back to sleep because of that, so I changed the password and told Mia she was no longer allowed to use the keypad. She agreed and promised to try to make less noise. On Friday night this week, Mia went out with her friends. She came home very drunk at 4 a.m. and forgot that I'd changed the password. Not only did she use the keypad, she also got the password wrong so many times that she triggered an alarm. I was furious. Not only did my baby wake up crying, but I also got complaints from my neighbors. The next morning, I told Mia that I'm establishing a curfew. While living with me, she needs to be home by 8 p.m. She won't be allowed to go out at night for the rest of the semester. Mia put up a fight, saying I have no right to ground her like this or dictate what she does with her free time. But I held my ground. I told her she'll be free to do as she pleases when she has her own place and raises her own family. While living with mine, she has to do as I say. She told our parents about this. Our mother and stepfather are both on my side. Our father is on Mia's. He's saying I'm not her mother and I have no right to treat her like a child. He also thinks it's unfair to do this to her over a drunken mistake. Am I the idiot? Edit. No, I can't mute the keypad. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. For everyone posting here to put a post-it note, stop treating her like a child or she should be quiet because there's a baby. I'm going to say this. In any situation I've ever been in where I come home to someone sleeping, my fat butt, 440 pounds, is stealthy quiet. To the point of them not even knowing I came home most often. It's basic freaking manners. Why are some people just dicks to others? Then everyone on here wants to jump on the "you can't ground an adult" bandwagon. She's not an adult or even a remotely mature woman. She's just a selfish butt. Jumps off soapbox. Sister needs to move now. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You are not grounding her. You are not even treating her like a child. You are establishing rules and boundaries that she needs to abide by if she wants to continue living in your home. She is free to go live with either of your parents, or your dad can pay for her to rent an apartment. Her living with you is purely for her convenience. If she doesn't feel like the conditions are worth the convenience, she can leave. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last post and a lot has happened in the past 3 days. After establishing the curfew for Mia, things took a turn for the worse. On Saturday evening, Mia came home around 7:30 p.m., just before the curfew. She seemed annoyed but didn't say much. However, later that night, I woke up to the sound of the keypad being used repeatedly. I rushed to the door and found Mia trying to sneak out. We got into a heated argument, and she accused me of being too controlling. I reminded her of the rules and the reasons behind them, but she stormed off to her room. The next day, I received a call from our father. He was furious and demanded that I let Mia live her life as she pleases. He even threatened to stop paying for her college tuition if I didn't lift the curfew. I was shocked and hurt by his reaction. I tried to explain my perspective, but he wouldn't listen. Later that day, I discovered that Mia had been spreading lies about me to our family and friends. She told them that I was treating her like a prisoner and that my fiancé and I were constantly fighting. I was devastated. I had always been there for Mia, and now she was turning everyone against me. On Monday, I decided to confront Mia about her behavior. I wanted to have a calm discussion and find a solution that worked for everyone. However, when I entered her room, I found her packing her bags. She told me that she was moving out and going to live with our father. I tried to reason with her, but she wouldn't listen. She said that she couldn't live with someone who didn't trust her and treated her like a child. As Mia left, I couldn't help but feel like I had failed as a sister. I thought back to our childhood and how close we used to be. Mia had always looked up to me, and I had always tried to protect her. But somewhere along the way, we had grown apart. I realized that I had been so focused on being a good mother and partner that I had neglected my relationship with my sister. Now, I'm left with a strained relationship with my father and a sister who wants nothing to do with me. I know that I made mistakes, but I was only trying to do what was best for my family. I hope that one day, Mia will understand my perspective and we can rebuild our relationship. But for now, I have to focus on my son and my fiance and try to move forward. Thanks for reading and for all your support. Aita for arguing with my sister after her son praised our family friend over her. In his graduation speech, I, 33-year-old female, have a sister, Jane, 40-year-old female. Jane and her husband have 7 kids, 17-year-old male, 15-year-old male, 14-year-old female, 12-year-old female, 11-year-old male, 8-year-old female, and 5-year-old male. Her 11-year-old son, Braxton, is graduating from elementary school later this month. Braxton is the school president and thus will be giving a speech at graduation. Jane read Braxton's graduation speech last night while we were at our mom's house for dinner, and it ended up in a massive argument. 5 years ago, my husband, 33-year-old male, and I hosted an exchange student, Justin, 15-year-old male at the time, now 20-year-old male, who is from the Philippines. Justin loves basketball, and when we found this out, we were excited for Braxton, who was 6 at the time, because he had started to play basketball, but no one else in the family was really interested. This quickly evolved into my husband and I driving Justin and Braxton to either the gym or a local sports center every day to play. I would normally supervise as I wasn't working and had no kids at the time. By the end of the year, Justin and Braxton grew close, and after Justin left, they would still talk on the phone. My husband and I would help them speak to each other. Justin started college this year after taking a gap year due to infection 19. He's an international student at a college around 45 minutes away. He lived on campus this year but will be moving into Jane's house, and more specifically, Braxton's room, very soon. Braxton and Justin have spent a lot of time together since he got back to the States. I will drive up to the university with Braxton and they will hang out. Braxton spends more time with Justin than his siblings or parents. Jane and her husband have to divide attention to 7 kids. In Braxton's graduation speech, the first person he thanks, and the one with the most written about them, is Justin. He speaks about how Justin is his role model and like a bigger brother, and how he's helped him with basketball. Jane got upset when reading this. She asked Braxton why he would put Justin over his own blood. He explained that he wants to be like Justin when he grows up. Justin recently started teaching him Tagalog. He said he admires how smart Justin was for knowing different languages and spoke about all that he admires in Justin. Jane suggested he rewrite it and include family first, but he said Justin was family to him. She argued some more before stepping out of the kitchen. I went into the living room after a bit to check on her. We're really close, and normally she opens up to me. She started to whine about how she does so much for him and how he only likes Justin because he's a cool kid. I brought up how I drive him places, and she whined about how she has 7 kids. She continued to whine about his speech, and I told her to stop whining and act like an adult. She got angry at me and started to argue. She hasn't spoken to me since last night, where she seemed angry at me. She won't pick up my calls. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot first, elementary school graduation? Okay. Then it's perfectly normal for a child that age to idolize older siblings, longs, family friends over family members. Your nephew was so lucky to have this remarkable kid in his life. Your sister needs to let it go. Again, it's elementary school graduation. We are lucky if Spider-Man doesn't get mentioned. Comment 2. LMAO, she whined about how she has 7 kids. Like, oops, where did these kids all come from? What an unfair lot in life. Your sister sounds like she might not be the brightest crayon in the box. She certainly doesn't have Braxton's best interests at heart. Not the idiot now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my previous post. I wanted to give you all an update on what's been happening over the past couple of weeks. After the argument with my sister Jane at our mom's house, things have been pretty tense between us. She didn't speak to me for a few days, and when she finally did, it was only to tell me that she was still upset about what I had said. I tried to apologize and explain that I didn't mean to hurt her feelings, but she wasn't really in the mood to listen. Meanwhile, Braxton has been spending even more time with Justin since he moved into their house. They're practically inseparable now, always playing basketball together or working on Braxton's Tagalog. It's great to see them bonding, but I can tell it's been tough on Jane. She feels like she's losing her son to someone else, and I can understand why that would be hard for her. Things came to a head last weekend when we were all supposed to go to Braxton's graduation ceremony. Jane had been stressing about it all week, trying to make sure everything was perfect. But when we got there, Braxton insisted on sitting with Justin instead of with the rest of the family. Jane was visibly upset, but she tried to hold it together for the sake of the other kids. After the ceremony, we all went out to dinner to celebrate. But the mood was tense and Jane barely said a word the whole time. I tried to make conversation with her, but she just gave me short one-word answers. It was clear that she was still holding a grudge against me for what I had said before. Later that night, after everyone else had gone to bed, Jane and I finally had a chance to talk. She broke down in tears, telling me how hard it was for her to feel like she was losing Braxton to Justin. She said she felt like a failure as a mother, like she wasn't doing enough for her kids. I tried to reassure her that she was an amazing mom, but I could tell she wasn't really listening. As we talked more, I started to realize that there was more to Jane's feelings than just jealousy over Braxton and Justin's relationship. She confided in me that she had always struggled with feeling inadequate as a parent, even before Justin came into the picture. With 7 kids to take care of, she often felt like she was being pulled in a million different directions and couldn't give any of them the attention they needed. She also told me about some of the challenges she and her husband had been facing in their marriage. They had been arguing more lately, and she was worried that they were growing apart. She said she felt like she was carrying the weight of the whole family on her shoulders, and it was starting to take a toll on her mental health. I listened to her pour her heart out, and I felt terrible for not realizing sooner how much she had been struggling. I apologized for what I had said before and told her that I was there for her, no matter what. We hugged and cried together, and I promised to be more supportive in the future. Since then, things have been a little better between us. We've been making more of an effort to check in with each other and offer support when we need it. Jane has also been trying to carve out more one-on-one time with each of her kids, including Braxton. She's realized that she needs to make her relationship with them a priority, even if it means letting go of some of her other responsibilities. As for Braxton and Justin, they're still close as ever. But Jane has come to accept that their bond is a special one, and that it doesn't take away from her role as Braxton's mother. She's even started to join in on some of their basketball games and Tagalog lessons, which has been a great way for her to connect with both of them. Of course, there are still challenges ahead. Jane and her husband have a lot of work to do on their marriage, and balancing the needs of 7 kids is never going to be easy. But I'm hopeful that we can all support each other through it and come out stronger on the other side. Thanks for reading, everyone. It means a lot to have your support and understanding during this tough time. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.